There once lived a man whose story would echo across centuries. A man whose faith would be tested in ways almost impossible to imagine. He was not a king. He did not lead armies. He did not build empires or command nations. Yet his story would become one of the most powerful stories ever written about suffering, faith, and the mystery of God. His name was Job. He lived in a land called Uz, somewhere east of the Jordan, far from the cities of kings and prophets. It was a place of open fields, wandering shepherds, and ancient trade routes where caravans crossed deserts carrying spices, gold, and silk. In that quiet land, Job had become a man of extraordinary reputation. Scripture describes him with 4 simple words that reveal everything about his character. He was blameless. He was upright. He feared God. And he turned away from evil. This did not mean Job was perfect. No human being is. But among the people of his generation, he stood apart. His life was marked by integrity, compassion, and reverence toward God. He was a man who lived carefully. A man who guarded his heart. A man who believed that honoring God mattered more than wealth, power, or reputation. But wealth had come to him anyway. Job was not only respected, he was also incredibly prosperous. He owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 pairs of oxen, and 500 female donkeys. His servants filled the fields. His livestock covered the hills. His household was large and thriving. In fact, Scripture says Job was the greatest man among all the people of the East. But his greatest treasure was not his wealth. It was his family. Job had 7 sons and 3 daughters. 10 children. 10 lives filling his home with laughter, conversation, celebration, and love. His sons often held feasts in their homes, inviting their sisters to join them. These were not wild celebrations, but joyful family gatherings, days filled with food, music, and companionship. And after every feast, Job would rise early the next morning. He would offer sacrifices to God on behalf of each of his children. Not because he believed they had done something wrong, but because he was a father who understood the fragile nature of the human heart. Perhaps, he would say quietly, my children have sinned in their hearts. So he prayed. He sacrificed. He interceded. Again and again. This was Job's habit. This was the rhythm of his life. Faithful. Consistent. Quietly devoted to God. From the outside, his life appeared blessed in every possible way. He had wealth. He had respect. He had a loving family. And he had a reputation for righteousness. But hidden beyond the sight of every human eye, a conversation was taking place in heaven. A conversation that would change everything. One day, the heavenly beings came to present themselves before the Lord. Among them was Satan. The word Satan means accuser or adversary. He was the one who challenged, questioned, and accused. And the Lord said to him, "Where have you come from?" Satan replied calmly, "From roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth across it." Then the Lord asked a remarkable question. "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and turns away from evil." But Satan challenged God's statement. "Does Job fear God for nothing?" he asked. "Haven't you put a hedge around him and his household? You have blessed the work of his hands. His flock spread across the land." In other words, Satan argued that Job's faith was not genuine. It was convenient. According to Satan, Job served God because his life was blessed. But if everything were taken away, if suffering replaced prosperity, Job's faith would collapse. Then Satan made his challenge.